Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Walking Dead. A lot of interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. This is actually kind of an episode, I guess lighthearted would kind of be the word to kind of put quotes around, because it was actually kind of an episode full of shenanigans to a certain extent. But I think it's interesting because we actually go back to Daryl and Carol. But I guess it makes sense because, yeah, Daryl's been in 3 of these episodes, but I guess like the first bonus episode was mainly about Maggie more so than anything. Then the second one was Daryl and Carol, but it was mainly about Daryl and Leah. So this one mainly being about Daryl and Carol to a certain extent, but I think more so focusing on Carol, but just, I mean, I wonder, did they also, is this episode kind of designed too, because like, you know, there was talk, I don't know if that's still a thing or not, maybe it is, that there was going to be a Daryl and Carol spinoff, so I don't know if this is supposed to be like, I don't know if necessarily like a backdoor pilot would necessarily, because obviously like they definitely have plenty of episodes together, so not like you necessarily would need one, but I'm wondering, well, obviously it's just a continuation of like the rough patch they're in, because we're picking up after the second bonus episode of like Daryl saying everything that he did to her, and they're just kind of awkward around each other. It's like, you go back to Alexandria, I'm gonna go keep looking for a little bit, and it's like, and he's trying to say and she's like, no, you don't need to apologize, and he was like, I wasn't going to, I was just going to say good luck, and she's like, oh, good luck to you too. And then the dog leaves with Carol, and Daryl's looking like, nice, cool. So it is interesting that both of them kind of have a shitty day while they're apart from each other. Because obviously I think when they're not in their ebb and flow, like each of them is kind of feeling it. Because Daryl's on his bike, checking things out. His bike, like a part to his bike kind of messes up. So he's got to try to find a replacement part, which obviously leads to him, like, there's that part he gets from the car, but the car's like rocking back and forth because the walker's inside of it. So he's getting the walker to like go to the other side to keep the car lifted up. It's like, hey, a makeshift jack. Also kind of like a seesaw, but it's like, thanks, buddy. So he got that, and it's like, okay, let me go put this on this tube or whatever. And it's like, oh, I can't because I gave Carol my pocket knife, which I guess it's like I guess it's more so a Swiss Army knife. And it's like, damn it. Okay, tries to use this knife, doesn't work. Okay, gotta find something else. He sees like some like a soldier or something with a pack of something. Like, okay, maybe he has something. Whole bunch of walkers surrounding him. Struggling. Damn it, nearly got bit by this walker doing all that. It's like, luckily I was able to kill it. Alright, the rest of you fall over. Okay, let me go back and fix my bike. Damn it, more of you. Okay, let me kill some more walkers. Alright. Oh wait, you guys actually have supplies on you. Cool, this actually worked out. Alright, cool, let me get back to fixing my bike. Alright, lo and behold, and he's able to fix his bike. So that's mainly like Daryl's side of things. An interesting thing, I think the real interesting thing is for Carol when she comes back, she's relaxing at, it's like, oh, it smells like Daryl in here, and just kind of chillaxing with the dog and everything. And obviously for her, it's like, it's a whole conversation about fixing what's broken, and it's like, Daryl was kind of like, well, you'll figure something out. You always do. Then like she goes to talk to Jerry, and it's like, so what can I do, Jerry? It's like, well, that and that you were offering to do, it's actually kind of taken care of. So I'm sure you got more important things to do. She's like, yeah. He's like, what's that? So she's like, yeah, this is something I found, I don't know who's it belongs to, but I figured I can wash some of the blood out and kind of stitch up a little bit of problems. Okay, cool. And she's like, actually, Jerry, is there anything she needs to do something. She's like, I need to fix something, because for her, it's like, she looks at Alexandria. She looked at Hilltop. It's like, all this came about because for her, yes, she was getting revenge, but also in her mind, it's like, I'm protecting everyone. I think your revenge kind of came first and foremost, and you didn't care about the consequences, but you were just so angry and so sad that, you just had to do something. I mean, obviously, like, everyone in the group's been there. No one's kind of going to the extent that she has necessarily. I think the closest thing you could think of is like the whole Rick and Negan thing, but even then it's like that was kind of a united front of like, we all kind of have to put Negan down, like, but then like Rick decided to spare him and not kill him, even though I think slit his throat and everything. Regardless, so it's just Carol's kind of going to an extent no one else has kind of gone before. I guess I'd make the argument the only character I can really think of off the top of my head that really kind of went down that right was the governor. Like the last time we saw him, like his last part in the series was at season 4. The whole governor thing angle on that front. I think that's probably kind of something of a similar vein when he attacked the prison, gathered up its forces, and did that whole thing. Regardless, tangents and all that aside, For Carol, it's simply, I've done too much and I just want to fix things. I want to make things right. So it's like, oh, like obviously Jerry's stomach is grumbling. It's like, oh, okay, let's make some food. She's like, oh, cool. I'll fix up something. I'll make a soup or something. But it's like, well, at first I think she had suggested, no, she did suggest a soup. But then it's like, right, this, that, because she was going to fix something up. But it's like, things kind of weren't working out. So plus the electricity was kind of out because there was no electricity to kind of cook anything, so she was going to make a makeshift soup. She told the whole story about the stone soup, but Jerry's like, oh, that doesn't seem too appealing, like, the stone soup thing. And she's like, yeah, but I'll make it work. He's like, you always do. And in that moment, it made her pause again, because it's like, Daryl said the same thing to me. Do I always make it work out? So obviously, like I said, shenanigans ensue. She's finding some ingredients, like, oh, make it a makeshift thing and everything. It's like, oh, that's cool. And then all of a sudden, she hears the dog losing his mom scratching up the place, tearing up the place. She's like, whoa, what are you doing? Stop, calm down. Then she finds out, oh, it's about a rat. He chases the rat in the kitchen, knocks over the food. She's telling him to get out. It's just like I said, it's just so weird. It's just not totally what you would expect from a Walking Dead episode, because it's like I said, just shenanigans ensued. And she's like, I get it. I hear the rat too. It's like, you get out of here. So she's trying to find another way. It's like, all right. She leaves to go find some replacement ingredients. It's like, and Jerry's like, oh, that's it. She's like, yeah, I'm working on going to find some more ingredients. It's just that laugh of just like, and then just a sigh of defeat. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So she goes to get some more supplies. It's like, what? All of you walkers showing up. Oh, don't think I can handle you on my own. It's going to be you, and then you, and then you, and then you. Proceeds to take care of all, gather up the ingredients, leaves. Jerry's like, whoa, what the hell happened to you? She's like, oh, whatever, work on that soup, ha ha ha. And he's like, okay. And I love that her constant interaction with Jerry, because Jerry's coming by like, okay. She's doing the whole thing with the solar panel, trying to restore electricity back into the house so that she can start cooking. And Jerry's just kind of like, all right. Later on, even circling back around, because obviously you can tell it's like Jerry's making an excuse just to come back to check on her and stuff like that. But he's trying to pretend like, oh, it's all about the soup. And she's trying. But then the whole thing with the rat, which she made her own, like she MacGyvered her own little rat trap. And it's like, wait, I hear the little bastard. She let the dog back in. It's like, hey, yeah, it's all good. And she's like, if you're lucky, I'm going to give you some of the scraps. And here's about the rat. She's like, yes. At first, I was almost thinking, like, are we going with a Snowpiercer here where she's going to find, like, a whole nest of rats and kind of do a Melanie and survival of that? And kind of bring, well, I mean, it's also, you can't trust rats, It's kind of, unless it's a desperation situation, then I guess they're not quite there yet, so it's like not really supposed to be eating her. I wonder would she have cooked a rat? Like, maybe cooking it would have been better, but it's like, oh, add some meat to the soup and whatnot. But it's like, oh gosh, she's like, yeah, got you little bastard. I even love when she initially left. She's like, see you later, asshole. I'm like, dude, like I said, shenanigans. Sadly, the rat escapes, and even more shenanigans ensue because she's trying to catch it, and it's like, what am I watching right now? I love it. And the rat ended up getting away, and she just stuffs the hole, and she's looking at the dog, and the dog just kind of, and she's like, what? Are you two friends now or something? You siding with him because I yelled at you? So, and then immediately, the power cuts off, and it's like, yay, don't worry, buddy, there'll be more sun tomorrow, right? So she's trying to look on the positive side of things. She's going to bed, and she even says this line to the dog. It's like, I get it, I miss him too. Which I even love the whole thing. The dog hops in bed. She's like, well, that's very bold of you. But she's like, I miss him too, Part of me, she's wondering, because she'd even brought it up earlier. It's like, I didn't need an apology from him because he meant everything he said. It's like, for her, that's why she feels even more the need to fix things, because she realizes how much she's kind of caused, and she thinks like, Daryl had every right to kind of say what he had to say like that. I didn't need an apology because he meant it and everything. And obviously for her, it's like, it's like, don't worry, Daryl will come back. He always does. And it's like, but me, I don't. She's like even suggesting like, maybe I should leave. Maybe I should get out of everyone's hair, because for her, it's like, do I have the right to be here considering all the damage I've caused, all the people I've hurt? Like, so much was lost because of me, and yet, and it's interesting the parallels between her and Lydia, because Lydia pulled her back at the last second at the end of the pseudo season finale, episode 16, when she was just going to like die, go off the edge with all the walkers, but Lydia pulled her back. It's like Lydia kind of was in a very similar regard of like, yeah, she was with the Whisperers, they caused so much damage, so many people look at her a certain way. Obviously, you got your kind of of three outsiders to a certain extent. You got Negan, you got Lydia, which Negan's in kind of a whole pit of his own in many different regards. Not just because of the savior thing, not just who he was before, what he's done with the Whispers. Even if he killed Alpha, it's like he still played his role. Lydia being connected to Whisper, there's always going to be that sour point, but she helped out a lot, so I think there's going to be a lot more leeway on that front. But then there's Carol thing that she kind of masterminded a lot of stuff, so a lot of it falls on her in that regard as well. So they're kind of the three kind of on the shit list. I feel like from who's on more of the shit list, kind of a tie between Negan and Carol. I think Lydia's kind of gotten off a lot of people's shit list. I mean, granted, we don't know that for sure in the grand scheme of things, so we'll ultimately have to like wait and see on that front. But what I thought was so interesting though is that she was saying that, though. Like I said, she just feels like she caused too much problems for people, and Carol just feels like, I need a balance. I should get out of everyone's hair, because it's not just a reminder to them of everything that's going on. It's a reminder of her, just like what she's done, you know? And I think, honestly, like, running away would be leaving again, because she has done that from time to time. It's kind of when things have gotten tough and hard, like, she has left, but it's like, honestly, leaving's the easiest thing to do. Sadly, staying is the hardest thing, you know? But obviously, like, her and the dog wake up in the middle of the night to hear the rat. She goes to the wall. It's like, oh, I thought you just cut a hole in it. And when she cut the hole in it, it's like, oh, you're going to see a whole bunch of rats. Everything's going to work out. It's like, and she proceeds to, like, start cutting in hole, punching into, like, the wall, kicking it, and then just kind of stopping, because it's like, yeah, she was just angry at everything, like at herself. It's just like she was just so pissed, just frustrated with herself because of everything. Like she tried to be more positive. She tried to think like, I can fix everything. I can fix it. And it's just a realization, I can't what's fixed, what's broken. Like I've been able to probably fix things before, at least try to. I won't be able to this time. Like I've just broken it too much. I'm too broken to fix this. Then obviously Jerry stops by. He's like, hey, you know, my poker face, I'm kind of terrible. I will no longer keep up the ruse of I'm coming here for the soup. I'm actually here to check on you. Even being like, what happened to the wall? It's like, you know, and it's like, for him, he kind of pieces things together. For her, it's for him, it's like, I kind of, you know, 2 + 2 equals Eureka. Like the fact is that Daryl wasn't here. You didn't come back. You kind of made sense of probably most likely what happened. Because for her, she's like, honestly, yesterday was actually a pretty bad day for me. It's probably my worst day. It wasn't a good day at all, which, you know, Jerry can kind of understand. And he kind of wishes Ezekiel was here because, like, you know, Ezekiel, you know, would have something to say. Like, he'd have he's like always got, like, you know, one of his sayings stashed away for something like this. And for her, it's like, come on, Jerry, like, can't you just, you know, do you have to, you know, because it's like, yeah, I got to check on you because that's what Ezekiel will do if he's here. And she's like, yeah, it's kind of like this issue you guys have. It's like, can't you just let people like me suffer in peace? He's like, yeah, sorry, carrying, you know, it's so much of an issue carrying, but you know, but he says that line of, a friend thinks you're perfect even when everyone else thinks you're broken. You know, it's kind of something he feels like Ezekiel would say. And for Carol, it's like, what if you are broken? And he's like, Ezekiel will probably have something else to say, but I don't know what it is. And she's like, what would you say? And he simply hugs her, you know, to let her know that it's okay, you know, that, you know, and it's like, man, it makes you go, good guy, Jerry. There you are, Jerry. You're always that lovable big guy of, like, you know, optimism and everything, you know. It's just like, you know, I like that, you know. Because I think it's also because he obviously cares about Carol in many different regards. Because obviously she was kind of like queen for a while, so obviously like he cares about her and understands like kind of what she's dealing with. He can't fully understand, but he can sympathize, not really empathize. But she's like, well, why don't you come in for some soup? And it's like, oh, the rat walks by. It's like, wait, was that a? She's like, yeah, and it's like. It's interesting, like, after all that, now the rat's going to, and it's just kind of like, once again, it's just kind of like one of those moments of throw your hands in the air, and I guess that's supposed to be the irony behind it. Just the rat plays such a big role in everything, and just when, you know, you had this moment with Jerry, it runs out, kind of a representation of just kind of letting go all the stuff, you know, from yesterday, to a certain extent, just kind of like breathing a sigh of relief, I guess to a certain extent. Like, that rat just means so much metaphorically. But obviously, at the end of it, Daryl comes back, and she's looking at Daryl. He's like, what the hell happened to you? She's like, what the hell happened to you? It's like, you know, the usual. Did you find anything? Yeah, cool. Oh, here's your knife back. And she's like, I forgot to give it back to you. So he's like, no, you keep it. I don't know if that's supposed to be some kind of middle ground in his mind of like, no, you keep it. Like, you don't, you need it more. Obviously, granted, he could have, because he probably doesn't want to make her feel guilty by being like, yeah, I kind of needed that, but it all kind of worked out in the end anyway. But, yeah, it's kind of like, oh, I'm fixing some soup for everybody. You want some? He's like, no, I'm a rest. I'm pretty tired. Just, oh, okay. Yeah, me too. So, and they're both kind of, we see them both kind of close their respective doors at the same time. And it's just like, things still aren't there, but it's like, I think they will be. Like I said, whether you look at this as kind of like a quote-unquote backdoor pilot or not, like I said, they've had plenty of moments before that kind of act as backdoor pilot, like the story's been building up for seasons. But to see where they are at right now, you kind of hope, where they're at, you hope that they can find some way forward. Granted, it won't be the easiest road, but it's like, it's both of them trying to figure things out. I think Daryl is, it's just, he regrets what he said, and I think he does want to apologize. It's just, it's like what he said needed to be said, and yeah, but Carol feels guilty enough he doesn't need to bag and add on to the baggage, but also like Carol's got to figure things out of like, what can she do? Like, is she broken? Find her way forward. Is there a way of fixing anything? Or, does she just still try to move forward? Does she try to fix, like, what does she do? Like, both of them have to figure it out. So it's a thing of, like, yeah, shenanigans ensued, but it was still development for both of their characters and their stories, because it's like, where do they go from here? Ultimately, I have to wait and see. Next week's episode is the, I guess, more official season finale. It's the final bonus episode. I believe it's entitled Negan. I could be mistaken. It's about Negan. I've seen I remember seeing something from the trailer about it, but like, obviously I don't know what to expect from the episode except for it being focused on Negan. So maybe we'll get a bit of Negan and Lydia and maybe some Maggie now that she's back in Alexandria. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of, goes down in that episode. But yeah, like I said, the more, I guess, ended up bonus episodes, but kind of almost like a pseudo season finale in its own right. So I'm interested to see what goes down in this episode, diving more, because I think if I remember correctly, from what I think I was hearing on SCN Live, they were talking about it. I think this might be diving more into Lucille, his wife, so we're going to probably get some of Negan's backstory. It's come up a little bit in the past, but I think we're going to see more of it. Regardless, I'm interested to see where all this ends up taking us going forward into the next bonus episode. I'm leave it at that and shut my mouth. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, loyal to the force, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.